If you are in a place where it is appropriate and comfortable for you to do so, please close your eyes and take a few slow, long, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more peace and light entering your body and your mind. With every exhale, let go of all tension and anything you do not want. On the inhales, feeling peace and light entering, and on the exhales, feel as if gravity is just taking away all tension and anything you do not want. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. Inside the center, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove up with a sacred golden light. We recognize that this is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, which burns away everything that is unlike itself. Into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us here, that Creator reveals themselves as a father and mother, a god and a goddess. Into the sacred space, we also invite the presence of our teachers, our angels, and our guides. We ask that we be guided and led as we walk upon the way, becoming happier, more peaceful, more prosperous, more healthy, and more loving people. Thank you very much, and if it is appropriate for you to do so, out loud you can join me in saying, Blessed be. Right, so last week we spoke on the Tetragrammaton. I'd like to get back into Kabbalah a bit today. Probably we will be doing Kabbalah for a little while. I want to go through some of these names. Now, we've already done sphere number 2, which is the Tetragrammaton. And each of these names, each of these divine names represent not a deity to us magically, but a formula to us magically. A formula. So let's back up, and today let's talk about sphere number 1, which is the crown. Now, I just want to be clear that spheres number 2 and 3, respectively, are male and female, father, mother, god, goddess. And they are that when in relationship to each other. But they both wear a single crown, which is number 1. So if you think in terms of any monarch, the crown that they wear on their head isn't the crown. The crown is something that is represented by that thing that they wear on their head. So the crown represents the majesty of the monarch. And so that's what that sphere number 1 represents, is the crown. It's the majesty of the Creator, which is pre-gender. Now, we have to recognize that if you look at the name on the top of the tree of life, that holy name, Ehyeh, or Eheye, or Eheya, some people say, but Ehyeh, it is a formula. Ehyeh is Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. Now let's think about that. We know that it means I am. We know that that's what that word means. But let's break it down and let's look at why it's important for you magically. Not so much as something that you think religiously, but magically, as we always do. So, Aleph is an ox head. Now think back into ancient, primitive, Near Eastern mentality. The ox was a very strong animal, very strong, very important animal. Unlike the Tetragrammaton, which starts out with a yud, which is a hand, this is starting out with an ox, a head of an ox, meaning the full import of power, the power of being itself. So it's starting out with that Aleph, it's starting out with that ox. And then we have the 2 heys, like we do in the Tetragrammaton. The hey, which is that mirror, the first hey, and then the yud, which is the hand, and then the window. So it's ox, window, hand, window is what I am is. Now put a pin in that and think back into the biblical chapter in which this name appears, which is Exodus. This character named Moses had this vision of a burning bush, which, if you think about it as seeing a star through an acacia bush, it represented a star. It was sort of like Moses's vision quest. Got all kinds of information from this power. And Moses was told to go and tell people about it. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to say? Who am I supposed to say sent me? And the voice said, I am sent you. Now, in the Bible, the full name was Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, which is interesting because the Ehyeh is I am, but it's an I am in Hebrew which is imperfect. In other words, it could mean, they have a very different idea of tense than we do in that ancient biblical Hebrew. It could mean I will be, but that doesn't make sense because infinite intelligence doesn't exist in will be. The fact that it's imperfect is denoting I am forever. I am eternal. I am that I am. I am everything that I am. Forever and ever and ever, outside of time. This will be, but it's always been, and it so shall ever be. Now that's the name of Kether, or the crown. I am. And when this character Moses said, well, who do I say sent me? And he says, tell them I am sent you. So now, I am and the Tetragrammaton are very similar names. They are very similar names. It's just that I am is definitive. It's it. That's it. I am. Whereas the Tetragrammaton is that which is. That which is. So on sphere number 2, it's almost an externalization of it. Whereas on sphere number 1, if you say if you say the name of God on the tree of life at the crown, you have to say I am. You can't say you are. I am. So that's like a little trick infinite intelligence used, because in order to call the name of God, so to speak, the only way to call it correctly is to say I am. And that teaches us a magical formula. You don't petition an external deity when you're working magic. You petition an internal deity. I am. Now, the implication there is the I that you are is a continuation of a greater I. But there's not two I's, there's one I. We say sometimes that you are like a sunbeam to the sun. I am is an extension of I am. And the I amness is eternal and never ends and extends throughout all time and space and beyond. Because I am is in that imperfect tense, which to some people, they want to relate it to the terrestrial understanding of time, and they say that it means I will be. But that's not correct. It can't be thus, because infinite intelligence can't live in time, especially not in the future. And the closest thing that we have to infinite time or timelessness here on earth is the present moment. And so that crown is a formula for power that exists in the present moment and never ends. And that's why we say the top of the tree is the same as the bottom of the tree, except for without the extra zero. So if you look in terms of the top of the tree is 1, the bottom of the tree is 10. But when you have that 0 on there, then it's actually a duplicate or a doubling of sphere number 5. So there's inherent conflict. However, if you stay in the present moment on sphere number 10, then it's no longer 10, it's 1 again. Because 1 plus 0 equals 1. So, I am, ye, is a 4-letter word for infinite, for the infinite. And you and the infinite are one. So when you're working magic and you think in terms of that name of God, that formula, you've got ox, window, hand, window. This is I am. I am that. I am that I am. Ye, ye, asher, ye is how it was told in the Bible. But in the Kabbalah, it's just simply ye. Ye, I am. And so think about what you attach to that magical formula every single day. I am tired. I'm angry. I'm sick of this. I'm so done with her. Spell after spell after spell that we cast using ye, I am. And that is what is meant by the admonishment in the Bible not to take the Lord's name in vain. That's what that means from a magical perspective. Be careful what you use that formula for. You don't think I am, and then you just say whatever. Because then what you're doing is you're taking the Lord's name in vain. And who's the Lord? I am. Who's God? I am. That's God's name. God didn't say you are. God didn't say they are. God said I am. That's what that's what you're supposed to call me. I am. Every single time you use the word I am or its conjunction I'm, you are invoking the infinite power of the universe. That's how powerful you are. Now, the fact that we use it so indiscriminately, we attempt to make the power of the universe powerless because we use it so indiscriminately. We don't ever think in terms of I am as invoking the supreme power of the universe, the crown, above the tetragrammaton, above the tetragrammaton. I am. Every single time you say those words or its conjunction, I'm, you are invoking the supreme power of the universe. So to say, I'm not good enough, that's just as much taking the name of the Lord in vain as saying, God damn it. One is not worse than the other. To say, God damn something, what you're saying is, I want that thing to be damned into eternal hell, right? So that's taking the Lord's name in vain in that you're cursing something indiscriminately. But that's no different than using the name I am without thinking of what you're putting into motion. And it's not that you're going to be punished by some external deity, because there is no such thing as an external deity. And this formula is proving that to you, because this name of God is I am. Not he is, not she is, not they are, not you are, not we are, but I am. So that's your magical formula. And you think in terms of that ox head, number one, that's how powerful you are. That the ox was considered the primary representation of power, absolute power. First, you start off with the power, that's you. I am the power, right? So the power, and then the window, we look at ourselves as the powerful, as the all-powerful in our world. So we have to reflect on that. That first window is a reflection. I am power, reflecting my power. And then that hand, fashioning my power. And then that window, so I can see the results of my power. It's a very similar formula to the tetragrammaton, but it's a lot more potent in some regards because there is no mistake where that power lies. That power lies in you. Nobody else has your power. I am. I am. I am. Now, the whole name in the Bible, I am that I am. I am that which I am. I am that I will to be. All of those things are good, but that's you. I am. Ox, window. Han, window. I am that. I am that. I am that. Now, that's another way to understand the mystery of this first sphere. Whatever you look at is a reflection of I am. I am that. I'm that tablecloth. I am that lamp. I am that wall. You do that. You can look around your room right now indiscriminately. I am that computer screen. I am that iPhone. I am that carpet. I am that doorknob. What's the value in that? You've given the meaning to everything in your universe. That's what that means. You don't know what anything means because you have already given it meaning. I am has given it meaning. You are responsible for the presence of every single thing in your world because you have projected onto each and every thing all meaning based on what you've been taught, based on what you've conceptualized, and based on what you're projecting. So you are the God in your world. But remember that there is a greater I am. And when we start to allow the greater I am to inform us, then our projections onto our world can change because we are no longer operating in this closed mind system. Because you're going to be the God of your universe, whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do to change that. I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that. But if you start allowing your mind to open and allowing the greater I am to inform the decisions you're making, then I am that, I am that, I am that starts to change because you're no longer bound by your past and how your past is being projected onto the screen of space. Now you are allowing the great I am in consort with you to co-create I amness everywhere. So where I am that sickness now becomes I am that health. I am that poverty now becomes I am that prosperity. I am that pain now becomes I am that bliss. I am that death now becomes I am that life. Because infinite intelligence is not bound by an ego. And when the ego gets a hold of your I am powers, boy, it loves to just project all kinds of limitation and separation onto your world, does it not? So anytime you're looking at a problem from a magical point of view, you say, I am that I am. I am that. I am. In other words, I'm taking responsibility, not blame. I'm taking responsibility for how I'm perceiving this thing. I'm taking responsibility for projecting this into my life. And I'm also taking responsibility for opening my mind to the greater I am to inform my decision-making process so that I can see it for what it is rather than seeing it for what I was. Because that's what we do. We take the Lord's name in vain all day long by turning our world into I was. In other words, projecting our past onto everything. We're taking that beautiful I am and we're saying, nah, I was that, I was that, I was that, I was that, I was that. And lying to ourselves that I was is I am. I hope that's making some sense to you. So as we learn the mysteries of each of these magical formulae and seeing where they exist on that tree of life, we can unravel all of those problems that we experience. And that's when magic really makes a difference, doesn't it? Because we're not just trying to put out a bunch of fires with our spells, we are getting to the root of it. We're getting to the cause of the problems so that our spells become something that's more permanent rather than something that's temporary. I was is temporary. I am is permanent. But lying to yourself and calling something I am when it really is I was is a double whammy. And that's what the ego likes to do to us. It likes to say, see what's happening? It's not what's happening. It's what was happening. It's a projection of my past onto the present moment. Projection of my past onto the present moment is how we misuse the I am powers. Because if you look around in your room, I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that. Now, when the great I am is something that you invite into your experience, you're opening your mind. You're seeing things from a universal perspective rather than from an ego's perspective. You're seeing something from the perspective of your soul. You can be corrected and you can say, I am that. I am that. And each and everything that you were projecting meaning onto now has new light, has new meaning, has a new luster to it. And that's the meaning behind this world that we see isn't real. But there is a real world that's happening underneath it. And the real world that's happening underneath it is I am, not I was. So listen to what you're saying with I am. Listen to how you're using those words, I am, because they are keeping you tied to your past and keeping you stuck in this Groundhog Day of projecting your past onto the screen of space and interacting with it as if it's really happening. Whereas if you look at that crown sphere on the tree of life and you say, no, I am, not I was, I am. And I'm only going to use the words I am to tell the truth. I am sick is not the truth because you can't be sick. Your soul cannot be sick. Your body can be sick. That's a different saying. My body is sick is very different from saying I am sick. I'm feeling angry is very different from saying I am angry. I'm feeling anger and I am angry are two completely different sentences. One's true and the other's a lie. So anything that you attach to I am that's not the will of your soul is a lie. And lies only give you more illusion and only get you stuck in interacting with your past more and more and more. And so that sphere number 1 on the tree of life, Ehyeh, or Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I am that. I am that forever. Remind yourself of that. This is an imperfect tense. It means forever. Is that what you want? You want to be sick forever? Then don't say I am sick. You can say I'm having symptoms. And I know that sounds like splitting hairs, but it's not. I'm having symptoms. My nose is stuffy. Yeah, you have a nose. You have a body. You have relationships. You have all those things. That's true. And so you can describe those things. But to say I am those things is a lie. Is a lie. And it's very important to understand that so that you can get involved magically in the formula of I am. So that you're using I am or I'm consciously in order to say what you do want, how you do want things, opening up your mind. That's why a lot of people, when they do affirmations, are like, oh, I feel like I'm lying when I say I am prosperous. Well, it's not I am prosperous. I am prosperity. Do you see? I am that. What do you want? I want health. I am health. What do you want? I want joy. I am joy. Not I am joyful. I am joy. I am conflict? No, that's not what you want. I am mercy? Maybe. I am perfection? What do you want? Ehyeh is the formula to align yourself to where that already exists for you now. Because I am that. I am that. So let's take a week, and just really look at how you're using that name of God, that holy name in your day-to-day speech. I am, I'm. Is it true? Are you lying? Are you taking the Lord's name in vain, so to speak? That's from a magical point of view now, not from a religious point of view. And the truth is, as a soul, I am already exists. So you, as an individual chooser here, you can choose how to use that power. You can choose how to use your I am power. in each and every moment. And you can also choose to undo how you're using your I am power in the moment. I am sick. Oop, take that out. Take that out of the law. I am health. Now, it's not saying that that you have to lie about how you're feeling. My stomach hurts. That's not a lie. Okay. But I am sick is not true. My stomach hurts is true. My body has an illness is true. I am health. I am health. And what does that do? It sets things in motion for healing, right? So let's think on the I amness of our world for the next week or so and just see if you can't uncover all kinds of power that you didn't know you had. And if you want to know what's going on, just look around the room. I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that. And it lets you know that you have given meaning to each and everything in your room. And now you're willing and open to have the greater I am come in and reinterpret things for you. In other words, you're allowing yourself to see things as a soul rather than an ego. So I hope that was interesting for you today. We will get through some more of these holy names and these formulas on the rest of the Tree of Life as time goes forward. So Ehyeh, I am, and Yud-He Vav-He, or Yahweh, which is that which is. Actually, it's usually interpreted as he which is, because it is the masculine side of the Tree of Life. And next week, we'll get into the Divine Mother. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me. And until next time, much, much love and many, many blessings.